Hello, welcome. It is me, it is Monty. Today's video is going to be fairly short because I don't have any tangents that I need to arbitrarily go on. I don't really have one of those today. I thought I would briefly go on a tangent about Taylor Swift because I'm reading the Breakup Tour, which was very clearly written, inspired, and marketed on the backs of Taylor Swift. But to be honest, I don't really have any thoughts other than I've read the first 28%. I'm going to talk about it in here in a second. But going past this, I do think I'm going to attempt to read and discuss this book divorced from how I feel they are interpreting Taylor Swift into the book, because it's very clear that they are taking inspiration, because, well, not taking inspiration. I feel like because it has been marketed that way, it is very easy to see the attempted parallels, and it'd be very easy for me to sit down and tell you all the reasons that I think the parallels don't work. But I don't really know if that's going to make you want to pick up the book. I think that if you are looking for like some weird Taylor Swift fan fiction, I would say that this, to me, doesn't feel like that. But I also need you to know that I am not a Swiftie. The reason I requested this book from Berkeley was I thought it was going to be a Monty book because, as you guys know, one, I love books about musicians. I love books about pop stardom. I like books where fame is a component of the story, where we are seeing somebody navigating fame. Love that. I eat it up like candy. So I had to request it. The fact that it was a romance has me a little bit nervous because I personally was not ultimately a fan of the Roughish Draft. I just feel like the Roughish Draft, I don't know. Like, I liked so much of that book. If you go back and watch, I think that was my first read of 2022, so I vlogged it. Which is a nice little tradition that I've started and will be continuing. I have no idea what my first read of 2024 is going to be, but I will be vlogging it. We'll find out together. But when I read that, I was so excited for most of it, but it wasn't really reading like a traditional romance I had read up until that point. And I feel like the two characters in that book were not really coming to an ultimate resolution, and I thought it was going to take like a literary spin. It was going to be like a love story, but not a romance. And then it just became a romance, and I was like, oh, I'm actually bored by this. So I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it, and it was my introduction to Austin and Emily. I'm not going to butcher their last names, but it was my introduction to them. And then later on in 2022, I did my Buzzwordathon project where I read What's Not to Love, and I thought that was it was very entertaining. I remember that. It was easy to get through. It was like their last, actually, I guess it didn't turn out to be their last, but it was maybe at that point their most recent YA. I haven't picked up their most recent adult romance, Do I Know You? Although I did like the premise of that. So I've been on the, I would say, mostly positive side of their books. And so I went into this with an open mind, and now I've read the first 28%. Some of this book, I feel just the marketing that I was getting is not necessarily correct. So here we're following Riley. Riley is our Taylor Swift pop star figure, right? So she became famous post-college, or at least during college, because we know that her and Max were college sweethearts, and she was not famous going into college, which I think is kind of the part of the book that is taking me the hardest, or the longest, I guess, to kind of, I don't know, tease out and figure it out. Because to me, I feel like when you are going to become like internationally known, you're going to be a mega person, one of two things have to happen. You have to either be on like a competition show for that to work out in your favor, or you just have to be, I guess, like mega supremely talented. And I feel like Taylor Swift had and most pop stars have the nice little, I don't want to say the benefit, because it's often like the horrors of, childhood fame, but we see them grow up. So you have people who are attached to them from a young age. We're seeing them grow and mature and evolve. I don't really know of anybody. And again, I'm not really the pop culture expert that I like to think that I am. I know that there are major blind areas, but it's just like, think of the current pop girlies, and most of them have been famous since before you would think people are graduating from college. So that's all I'm saying. So somewhere in the period between graduating from college to now, where she's entering her 30s, she has blown up into this mega famous person. Like I said, her and Max dated while they were in college together. Most recently, our main character, Riley, has been getting a divorce, which is something that has been in all the marketing. But the thing is, and like in the marketing, her ex-husband is now taking credit for kind of like the song of the summer that has come off this most recent album. He's like making TikToks to it. He's like embracing the fact that like he's the inspiration for this. And I think in true and in my mind, very un-Taylor-like fashion, although maybe like younger Taylor would have done this, this character, our main character Riley, wants to like put out a statement and be like, "It's not about you." And so she goes to her ex-boyfriend Max, and she's like, "Max, I want to make an announcement." But I will say that she is kind enough to know that if she puts out a statement using this man's name, his life is going to be kind of changed. You know, because at this point, Max is not famous. This is, I think, a part of the romance that is not going to work for me, even though there are plenty of people who are famous that have lesser famous or unfamous partners. I don't think it's gonna work for me. I just don't see it. But we're gonna, I'm gonna go along to get along. But Max is currently working at his family's retirement home. So his family has owned this retirement home for years. It's also the reason that he stopped making music, because he was also a music major in college, but he switched to being a business major to help out the family business. And so this is also set in the Valley, which I kind of like, because as a former Californian, I do still have like fond memories of the state, and so I appreciated getting the little glimpse of California that we got at the beginning of this book. And so he's working in the Valley at his family's retirement home, and she shows up and is like, "Hey, I want to make this statement," and he's like, "Absolutely not. It's really not that deep, ma'am. Like, just get over it." And to be honest with you, I feel like that is kind of like the smarter decision. He's like, "No, you can't do that." Not because it's going to blow up his spot or anything, but it's just like he's not interested and kind of like correcting the narrative. And I feel like Taylor Swift would correct the narrative in a way that was not like, "I'm gonna put out a press release." I don't know. But maybe she wouldn't. I don't know. Like, again, like, we're not besties. I'm not on speed dial with the woman. She's doing whatever she wants to do. So she just, she leaves the retirement village. She's understanding. She's not going to do that. And then we continue to follow Max because it's dual perspective, and his family brings him into a meeting because the business isn't doing so well. Because it's a romance and because like it's a book, these are people who are good business people. Okay, so they run this retirement village, but they don't charge everybody the same rate. Obviously, people save their whole lives or whatever. They pay into their pensions, and sometimes inflation. What you thought you were saving isn't enough. And so his family in the business attempts to work with the people, but that means that the business is kind of in the red. They're not very, they're not good financially speaking. And so his family, they want to sell the business to somebody else. They want to sell this retirement home to a different developer who is still currently, they want the land and the building. So they won't tear it down. There's going to, they'll probably spike the rates. And so people will have to leave. And it's like, well, where are these people supposed to go? Like, these are elderly folk. And Max, because it's a romance novel and it's giving very much Hallmark vibes, is like, "No, we can't do that to the people. I can't believe you'd ever want to do that." So he leaves and he puts on his businessman hat. So he calls up Riley again and they arrange a meeting, and he's like, "Look, I want to go on tour with you." And I feel like in the marketing of this book, I've seen people saying that she is bringing him on tour, and I guess she is, but it was not her initial idea. Like, she just wanted, again, to put like a little tweet, an Instagram post, maybe even like a reel, and call it done. But he's like, "I want to go on tour with you. You can bring me out when we sing the song of the summer. People will start putting things together. Your fans will, put on their detective hats, and they will realize that like maybe the song is not about your ex-husband. It's about me. It's about us, and I'll get a paycheck out of it. So maybe I'll be able to like raise the money in order." Well, we haven't gotten to this part, but I think he's trying to like raise the money to just like buy his parents out and be able to keep the development, and so the old people won't have to go nowhere. But also, Riley is just mega famous, and so if he can just get married at some point, I'm sure that Riley will just, it'll be a lot of loss, and people will love her because she's helping the elderly. It'll be all very good publicity for her. But right now he's just going on tour to sing this one song with her, which is giving very much Taylor Lautner coming out to announce Speak Now, Taylor's version, which obviously I don't think they knew this at the time that they wrote this, but perfect synergy. So where I'm at now, we have just arrived in New York. It's going to be the start of the tour, and he is meeting the other people on the tour. So it is giving what I wanted it to give. It's giving pop people on a tour. It's very much reminding me of the Farewell Tour that I read earlier this year. I forget the author of that, but that was a decent enough time. So I don't hate this. I'm having a good time. I'm, like I said, 28% of the way through this. I will be bringing my Kindle with me to work so I can read it on the bus. I don't know if I'm going to finish it today or if I'm going to finish it tomorrow before I go to work, but it's not very long. It's only like 300 something pages. And it's pretty quick because it is like a romance. So again, I will probably give you my final thoughts tomorrow. If you still want me, because it's only been 10 minutes of me today, I did just upload a Patreon exclusive reading vlog where I read Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us and Julia Somebody's The Writing Retreat. So that video is living over there. I will, of course, talk about both of those in the wrap up, but if you need my immediate thoughts, that's where that video is. We also did reading sprints last night, so there was like 5 hours of me and Aaron just going back and forth, having a good time. So if you need that, that's also live. There's more of me. But for now, I'm going to go, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another video. But until then, and until next time.